kind of sometimes helpful rule just to get a little practice with it is called the law of cosines. Now, the law of cosines is a little bit bigger, a little bit more going on with it, but right, it's any one of these forms. A squared equals b squared plus c squared minus 2bc cosine A, or same thing with b squared equals a squared plus c squared minus 2ac cosine B, right? A lot of these big crazy equations. Now, the idea of the law of cosines, though, if you notice, whatever we start with, right? If I start with B, I'm ending with that angle. If I'm starting with C, I'm ending with that angle. Starting with A, ending with that angle. Now, something this, again, might be useful. It's not required, but might be useful for you guys this year in geometry. So let's take a look at kind of dealing with the law of cosines and how it works. So, right, ultimately, if you don't have a picture, you definitely want to use a picture on these. But it says in triangle ABC, we have side A is 11, side C is 14, angle B is 34. We want to find side B to the nearest tenth. All right, so idea with this one is the angle and the side opposite are your beginning and ending points. So if we use those equations above to help us out here, since I'm trying to find angle side B, I'm going to use that middle equation. We're going to say b squared equals a squared plus c squared minus 2ac times the cosine of angle B. So in our case, we have b squared equals 11 squared plus 14 squared minus 2 times 11 times 14 times the cosine of angle B, which is 34 degrees. Now, really, we're going to just type this whole thing into the calculator. All right, I have 11 squared plus 14 squared minus 2 times 11 times 14 times the cosine of 34. Right, type it all in. Make sure you're in degree mode. I get b squared is equal to 61.6564, and it does keep going. And then I'm going to take the square root of that number. So I end up with b equals. Now to take the square root, press second x squared, and then second negative sign. I'll just take that previous answer, or you could copy that number down, and I find out that b is equal to 7.8522, or to the nearest tenth, b is equal to 7.9. Now, sometimes it's about finding sides, but we also could use the law of cosines to find angles. So in this second example here, what we're trying to do is find angle B. So we're going to use that same equation. We're going to use that b squared equals a squared plus c squared minus 2ac times the cosine of angle B. And again, substitute that information in to help identify this angle over here. So we have 27 squared equals 12 squared plus 20 squared minus 2 times 12 times 20 times the cosine of angle B. Now, this is the tricky part because ultimately our goal here is to find this piece over here, the cosine of angle B. So we got a lot of movement to do with this. We got a lot of things to simplify and move around. So a lot of order of operations things happening here. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to square my numbers. I have 27 squared is 729. Then 12 squared and 20 squared, I can just add those two together. So 12 squared plus 20 squared is going to get us 544. Right, so what's happening is right, these two things right here are becoming the 544. And then based on order of operations, I can't just subtract the 2 times 12 times 20 because it's got to also multiply by the cosine of B. But what I can do is multiply 2 times 12 times 20. And we could say, okay, well, this is really minus 480 times the cosine of angle B. So again, what's kind of happening here is we're taking these three things here, we're multiplying them together. Now, ultimately, again, our goal is to find the cosine of angle B, this guy right here. Now, again, following our order of operations, the next thing we could do is subtract this 544 over, since it's by itself. So we have 729 minus 544. We end up with 185 equals negative 480 times the cosine of angle B. And again, I'm trying to solve for the cosine of angle B. I'm trying to solve for this guy right here. So the next thing I could do is divide that negative 480 over. And when I divide that negative 480 over, I end up with the cosine of B is equal to, this is a long decimal, so negative 0.38542, and it keeps going. Now for me to find angle B, I have to do the inverse cosine. And we're going to find the inverse cosine of this decimal, which I'm using the full number in the calculator. Right, so copying that entirely, and I end up with angle B is equal to 112.6696 degrees, or rounded to the nearest degree is 113 degrees. So again, law of cosines, not something you guys have to know for the regions this year, but something that might become helpful for you.